Yo. Welcome to another edition of the Geeky Bros Podcast. I'm your boy Tactix.
Yo, it is just Darcy here.
And this is Big Geek Umar. How y'all doing today?
It's been a minute.
It's
I
been a
know.
while, guys. It's been a while. We unfortunately we had to go on hiatus due to scheduling issues. Well, all across the board, really. But understandably, because we're getting closer and closer to the holiday season, so always a couple of things. But we're sorry uh, we took a definite time to leave because while we were still on the air, we were like scrambling for things to talk about. And the time we all had to go separately, all the shit started coming down the pipeline. So yeah, we definitely have some catching up to do.
Absolutely.
But I'm just, bros, it's good to be back.
Same. What we got going on today?
Same.
Yeah, okay. All right. So yeah, let's just jump right in. First, just a bit of housekeeping. For people who are new to our channel and are watching us live, we are going like once we're okay, let me rephrase because clearly it's been a while since I've done this. For those of you who are not watching us live, please click the description in our please click the description to see the timestamps of our topics. If there's any topic you want to go to directly, just click on that and you'll go right to it. Now, for everyone else, we're jumping right into our first topic, and that is going to be about something. Let's just say that there seems to be, and we'll get into this more later, there seems to be a bit of a paradigm shift happening in the comic book studio worlds. And it is one that we three, but I think Tactix was the one who said it the first, was saying that we kind of want to see DC kind of stepping up. Now, we'll be getting to a bunch of Marvel stuff later, but DC has, or I should say James Gunn, who is running the DCU, along with Peter Safran, who is running more the business side. They have released some new casting for the upcoming Superman Legacy, and we got Miss Tessmacher, we got Jimmy Olsen. People I don't really know are being cast as them, but the big casting is, well, I'm assuming the villain for Superman Legacy, Lex Luthor, has been cast. And it was one of the people that we've been hearing rumblings about was in the running for, and it was our very own from X-Men First Class era, Nicholas Hoult. So Nicholas Hoult is going to play Lex Luthor against David Cornswet and Rachel Brosnahan. It's interesting how the main I'm just gonna say David and Rachel against David and Rachel for their Clark Kent, Superman, and Lois Lane.
Those people seem to be your villains for grammar. those names are not.
It's a Friday for me, and I'm having some issues. Okay, so David Corenswet and Rachel Brosnahan. I was very close to both of those. I'm a little surprised how close I was, actually, but nonetheless, they've been cast. Nicholas Hoult has been cast as Lex Luthor, and I'm interested to hear what my bros have to think about this. So, Darcy, you are our resident James Gunn, like, I wouldn't say fanatic, but our biggest fan of James Gunn. Not that Tactix and I don't like him, but I want to hear what you think of his most recent choice.
I'm loving this choice. I liked him in X-Men. I won't say that's my favorite character, him doing Beast. Not like I would say I was looking through for photos for the cover art of this, and I saw a character that I was like, oh, I forgot he did him, and I was so happy about it. Mad Max Fury Road.
Oh yeah, he was the dude who was like on the car.
Yeah, he's like super mad and crazy and doing like wild stunts for that. And I was just like looking at that plethora of that, and I know there's a couple other roles he's done, and I'm like, I think this guy's going to find a way to be terrifying yet like suave and charming, yet a little bit mad, right? And when I say terrifying, I mean like domineering and intelligent, which is everything like Lex Luthor is about. And I totally see this working. And I like that it's, you know, a younger Lex. But it doesn't feel, when I say younger, to be like, because I mean, it's been a while since I've seen this guy, but I feel like he's matured a little bit. And so I feel like it'll be just in that sweet spot, right? Where it's not like the last Lex Luthor we got, where you couldn't tell if he was about to start Facebook or take on Batman. And yep, you know the reference. And it just like where you, even though I did enjoy aspects of that character and the wildness of that universe, I do feel like this is going to be way more in line with what we want the character to be. So I'm excited about it, and I'm just, everything I'm seeing about this cast, like I've been seeing stuff about David getting swole, like not jacked, he's getting swole out here. So I'm looking forward to, I'm liking this casting, and there's something about the cast that we're getting selected as a whole for me that feels very like refreshing. It doesn't feel like it's playing an agenda, right? Like Marvel seems to be playing a little bit of an agenda these days. And it feels more like, okay, when I see this casting, it feels like, okay, I can start to imagine the kind of Superman story I'm getting, because these people all feel relative to a tone just by the presence of what I know of them as actors, the presence of how they look, and the kind of character and stature that these individuals can have. I definitely feel like, yeah, I can see this Superman film already based on the casting. You know, it's like the writing and the casting to me are really good indicators. Otherwise, yeah, you have a lot of cool people with a lot of big names, but that doesn't necessarily mean I can see what that tone is. It might feel very hodgepodgey and put together. This feels like, no, I can start to see this film already on these people. And so, yeah, this has got me in a good place.
T?
I like this casting. But what I will say is I feel like Nicholas hasn't really, and this is my opinion, personal opinion, I feel like he hasn't really stood out for me in a lot of the roles that he's done, and he's been in quite a few movies that I've seen, like Warm Bodies, the X-Men franchise. He was in this he's in that movie with Nicolas Cage where he plays Nicolas Cage is a vampire, and then I forget the name of the henchman.
It was oh my god,
I forgot the name, but it's like on the tip of my tongue. But he's like the main, he's always in, like, he's like the henchman of Dracula and whatnot. And then I recently saw him in this movie called The Menu, which I found that he was good in, but I feel like he hasn't really been Renfield, that's it, yeah. Like, he was good in all of these movies, but I don't feel like he's really had a chance to really shine, because I feel like he's been kind of like outshined by everyone else around him, because he's always kind of been more of the supporting character, right? In this, I think it's an interesting choice. And you know, I heard, like, in doing a little bit of research regarding this particular topic, I think I read somewhere that he actually auditioned for both Batman and Superman, which is really interesting, because I feel like now take that, like, he could like kind of have fun with this now and like take that as kind of like envy and be like, you know, I lost the role of Superman, and now I'm jealous and envious of you, so now I'm going to use that as a way to kind of like channel my inner Lex Luthor, because like Lex Luthor, let's face it, he's kind of jealous of Superman in the comics, right? Like, he sees himself as kind of like that hero messiah figure or whatever, right? And here comes this alien from another planet who basically like outshines him and stuff, right? So I think if he can kind of channel that and use that, it'd be a very interesting way to kind of tell Lex's story. So that's partially why I like this casting, and I feel like I see the potential in him. I think he just needs to have the right roles to really like take it to that next level, because I don't think, based on like what he's done in the past, he's really become like a household name yet, but he has the potential to be. So I'm looking forward to seeing. character.
On that though, that's what James Gunn does with his character,
Yeah,
his
yeah.
castings, right?
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
Chris Pratt was like kind of known, but like not that well known. Like
Yeah.
people who knew, and Chris Pratt is like to this day is like
Yeah.
James Gunn did everything for me. Like he
Mhm.
changed my fundamental life. Right?
Dave
Yeah,
Bautista.
like Dave, I was just gonna say Dave Bautista. Even what's Karen Gillan? Like she was well known as like from Doctor Who fans, but now she's a household name.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
she like if you look at her IMDb, she has a stacked IMDb before she joined the MCU, and
Yeah.
like he made like an entire story arc for her. But
Yeah.
like going back to Nicholas Hoult, you know, T, you're right. I didn't really think about it until just right now, because I would say that I do like Nicholas Holt's acting. I do like how he has portrayed himself, but if I'm really thinking, the only times I've actually seen him like stand out in the cast, because he's always in massive casts.
Yeah.
Like X-Men, he was up again, like he was sharing screen with Jennifer Lawrence, like a freaking oh my god, I'm choosing their X-Men names. Michael Fassbender and James McAvoy. Like these, and also he was in a movie with Patrick Stewart and also Ian McKellen. Like these are not small people he's up against. So like the only time I remember him standing out in the entire X-Men franchise that he was in was in like it happened to be like the worst movie was the Dark Phoenix, when he's grieving the loss of Mystique, and like Charles is like trying to like comfort him in the kitchen, and he just like unleashes his anger out on Charles. And I was like, yo, it took this guy 4 movies to have one scene where he gets to actually like get room to breathe. So
see, I don't even remember that scene.
And the other movie,
did you watch the film though?
No, I did. Yeah, I saw the film, but I don't remember that scene.
Yeah, I mean the whole movie.
Yeah. And also the other movie would have to be Mad Max. But again, he like all I'll say is like he didn't really stand out for me, because I was like watching everything else. Like, I mean, he was up against a dude with a guitar for blowing off fire.
Yeah, there's so much.
I'm not going to remember him as much.
Yeah.
I kind of remember him decently in that film. Now, don't get me wrong, he was nowhere near as like Charlize Theron and Tom Hardy, like, you know. But I loved every scene that he was in this, because
100%.
Here's the thing though, like I like what you guys are saying, and I think that not only the energy of what Tactix is putting out there about like, oh, channeling the fact that I didn't get Superman and now I'm Lex Luthor, but I honestly think that whole people know where they are at in their career. I think that he's gonna have that energy of like, I've had all these supporting roles and now I have the biggest chance possible to shine, because as much as the hero is important, the villain is as equally important to making the good film. All right, like we all know the Dark Knight was not the Dark Knight because of Christian Bale. Okay, like, and Christian Bale is by no means a bad actor, and he was not the star of that film. Like, it doesn't matter how you look at it, he was not it. And so,
and also, like, if you look at like, even if you want to go MCU, like the first Avengers movie, you had Loki as your main villain. Arguably, he had a lot to carry on his own, and not just the ensemble. Like, he was basically up against an entire ensemble of people, and he was able to do it. Nicholas Hoult kind of put in the same situation.
Yeah. And I have this feeling that, like, you know, he auditioned for this stuff, but James Gunn, just the way that it is, and I think that, like, you know, it's going to be interesting. And I now, and also knowing about James Gunn, especially after Guardians of the Galaxy 3, I have an interesting question that none of us can answer, but I'm like, what's the music that James Gunn's going to send him for Lex Luthor? I want to know what the music for Lex Luthor is, because that's
a great question.
Because it's going to be intricate, and it's going to be this weird undertone, but it's got to be something still smooth, right? Like,
is James Gunn known for orchestral stuff? Because Superman is not known for having, well, I should say what we've seen so far of Superman has not been known for being songs of a period.
No, but that was Guardians of the Galaxy, and that's just become a staple. But it's not truly
Peacemaker.
that. Yeah, but here's the thing. Like again, that's all kind of in a very specific, wildish tone. For instance, when it came to Guardians of the Galaxy 3, the music for what's his name? Oh my gosh, I can't think of his name right now. The villain.
No, the High Evolutionary.
All the music that they chose for the character was opera. So not at all timepiece, not what you're thinking. So he's closer to Matt Reeves in reality as to choose music that matches, and then he plans that for the scene, and then they gives that to the art to the actor. Now they have an understanding of pacing that and how.
Did we lose Darcy?
My signal be weak.
Okay. I wasn't sure if it was me or
I thought that was me because, like, yo, Umar, you weren't saying anything either, so I was like, oh shit.
I went.
I was looking at T. I'm like, oh, okay. So we had. You were saying.
I was at signal poor for a second there, but no, I don't know if this came through or not, but basically because the actors now know how that scene's going to be edited to, like what music it's going to be edited to, which gives you a sense of pacing. Now the actor can change the delivery to match that. So I don't think that this, like, it's not going to be so much about, like, I don't think James Gunn's going to go into this film being like, oh, you know what would be really, really cool is like a specific song. I think it's going to be about what's the tone of the film and then picking the music that matches how Lex Luthor delivers. And it's not necessarily a specific, like, timepiece song, but just what is that music? That's really an intriguing question for me.
Okay. Well, nonetheless, it's very clear we are very excited to check out what Superman Legacy is going to be like. And so far I haven't seen a bad piece of news about this yet. Moving on to our next topic, which is starting to now delve into the topic I kind of hinted at earlier before. So in terms of actually, wait, I'll hold off on that. So another bit of big time casting news has been released. Now, as people know, the Fantastic Four has been trying to get off the ground. Now, one thing that stood in its way, stood in the way of pretty much everything, was the WGA SAG-AFTRA strike. Now that strike is over, or I think it still has to be ratified, but still predominantly over, we are now starting to see a lot of movement on things. And one of those things was what was originally an offer gave to Adam Driver to play Mr. Fantastic in the Fantastic Four, which sounds like he rejected. A little surprise for me, but I guess after the whole Star Wars thing, he didn't want to get into another big franchise, or the money that they were offering wasn't good enough, or the writing was bad. The new casting, which was a rumor for a day before the full official release came out, was Pedro Pascal is been heavily rumored to outright being told and reported has been cast as Mr. Fantastic. Now, I am absolutely thrilled and think he is a fantastic choice for this role, mostly because I just love Pedro Pascal and seeing him in more things makes me happy. But like, this guy has delivered on The Mandalorian. Granted, it was mostly voice work. He more than delivered in The Last of Us. I hope a lot of people remember that he delivered massively in Game of Thrones.
For a very short period of time, though. That character was in. The character was he there for more than 2 episodes?
No. He was in from, I think he went from the first episode of the season to the second last episode, but he went big because T, you actually saw him go down.
Yeah.
So like the one and only thing I showed T to hopefully get him into.
By the way,
Game of Thrones.
He also saw him go down. Game of Thrones joke there, guys.
Yeah. Anyway, so Pedro Pascal, who's also currently filming, I think, Gladiator 2. My man is busy, but he is now joining the MCU and is going to play Mr. Fantastic. I'm happy. I'm just really, really happy with this. There's nothing more for me to say on this point. I'm head over heels. I find this to be a fantastic choice. But what do you guys think? T, let's start with you, man. What do you think of the Pedro Pascal casting?
this is another casting choice that I really, really enjoy. And I'll say this off the top. Like, this guy and Oscar Isaac, man, their careers have taken off and they're booming, bro, because both of them are in or well, yeah, still in really good franchises with Oscar Isaac now doing the Into the Spider-Verse stuff. He was part of Star Wars. This guy, Pedro Pascal is
MCU.
part of Star Wars, the MCU now, right? So yeah, man. I mean, so far I've liked a lot of his body of work that he's done. I've enjoyed The Mandalorian. I really enjoyed The Last of Us, and look wise, like I'm having a hard time kind of conceptualizing it in my head in terms of how the look is going to be of Mr. Fantastic. Um, and I'm kind of like with what Darcy has said off air about like how my views towards the Fantastic Four as a whole. Like I'm like they're cool, but like in terms of like am I excited to see a Fantastic Four movie? Like, yeah, not really. It's cool that it's coming out, and like obviously I'm gonna go check it out for sure. But I was never really big into the Fantastic Four, and then the previous movies kind of left a sour taste in my mouth ever since. So,
Oh God.
so it's kind of like my anticipation for this movie is pretty low. And while we can sit here and get super excited for the casting choice in regards to like anything that's going on with the MCU is in shambles right now. So like I'm I'm optimistic, but like reluctantly because we got excited about the Blade casting and like it doesn't seem like they have their shit together over there. So I'm just kind of like, man, like how did it get this bad with MCU? So yeah, I don't know. I mean, the casting choice is cool, but until I see an actual trailer and everything is solidified, like I have to keep a lot of my excitement on reserve because I really don't know what's going on with the MCU at this point. I'm right now. I'm kind of on. I'm on Team DCU right now, and I'm trying. Like, sounds like they kind of have things a little bit more structured over there right now. I'm hoping that MCU can kind of pick up where they pick up and like improve on where we last left them, but only time will tell. But for now, yeah, in terms of the question, I like this casting. I like Pedro, and yeah, I'm sure he's gonna body this. So
Darth?
Yeah, I mean, I love Pedro Pascal. I do think he'll do a great job with this character. Like Tactix, I hope he's not getting onto a sinking ship though in the process. Fantastic Four is cool, but I'm not into any deep lore. Basically, my entire interest in Fantastic Four has been the movies, and a couple of like animated things I've seen, throughout the years from being a child to being an adult, but like very, very, very sparingly. However, I will say like the last Fantastic Four movie, I'm still mad about it because that first half of that film looked like it was an amazing film. And the second half of that film, not. just
yeah,
not. It just like took a hard turn in the wrong direction. It's like things are going well. Oh, you see that cliff on the side? Don't let your what do they say these days? What is the phrase? Something thoughts that you have. Like the thought you when you have like
intrusive
that
thoughts.
yeah, your intrusive thought. Don't let your intrusive thoughts win. And then he's like, "Oh, drive off a cliff." Damn it. But yeah, I'm just hoping the MCU gets their stuff into a better alignment because as much as like I'm excited for the potential of what this could mean, I'm just worried it's going to get bland and average, right? Like we need
So
X-Men, we need Fantastic Four to shake up the tone. Like it needs to
yes.
come in and it needs to shift the tone into an adult manner. If we need to have certain properties that are more like child oriented, that's fine, right? Make them tonally a certain way. But we're getting bored because we're indecisive. So I'm excited about this casting. I'm not excited about MCU.
So in terms of, we're going to talk about the MCU in a second, given our next topic. But just to give a little context to both of you, the Fantastic Four movie director currently is slated for Matt Shankman. He basically did, like, he was the executive producer for WandaVision, and also he's directed like many episodes, including the first 2 episodes of Monarch: Legacy of Monsters.
It's not helping me though. At all. I'm liking Monarch: Legacy of Monsters, but that's and WandaVision was cool, but like none of that is telling me like, oh, this movie's getting a big shift. Like if you told me the guy, I forget his name right now, but the guy who did Mad Max Fury Road was coming to the MCU, I'd be like, oh, which film is this? Like which film is this? I need to see this film, right? Like
Yo, that's kind of interesting because like oh my god, I'm trying to remember his name. George Miller?
Yeah,
I want to say George. Okay, George Miller. I was going to say Mark Miller, but that's the wrong one. George Miller is the one, and if he came onto the MCU, I'll be like, yo, give him Ghost Rider.
Holy crap.
Can you imagine?
Can you imagine how many people who might get burned in this film? Like Mad Max Fury Road had a lot of fireworks, like a lot of pyrotechnics. This film is all pyrotechnics. Like
yeah.
You just did just be like unnecessary scenes where he's like comes in and just like flames coming out from like below his pants, like just like coating the floor, coming up the sides of the walls, and just be like really unnecessary amounts, and it would be amazing.
Yeah. So okay, so I will say that as someone who knows a little bit more lore on Fantastic Four than the two of you, but I wouldn't say I have like deep knowledge on it. I am excited with how the casting for the Fantastic Four has been going. That doesn't really give a lot much. I do like Matt Shankman's work, so I'm interested to see how he does the series. I really just, if they're going to introduce Doctor Doom in Fantastic Four, who is supposed to be the like ultimate alternative to Mr. Fantastic, I really hope they go with Mads Mikkelsen, because seeing Pedro Pascal and Mads Mikkelsen like have a battle of intelligence and wits against each other with superpowers would just be something to behold, in my opinion.
Let me ask you this question though. Like you said, it's a good casting, but at this point, Marvel is such a beast that getting good casting based off of like the history of what it has been and financially what that means, both in terms of the paycheck now and the potential for later, isn't that hard. But does that mean anything at this point? Because they have the sway to get big stars doesn't mean that they're going to deliver on good movies now.
So okay, then we might as well just shift into our next topic. Moving on, which is kind of very similar. There have been reports now that Jonathan Majors has been fully dropped from Marvel, and the Kang story is now like they're just trying to shift the whole story of Kang the Conqueror, which was not just teased as the big bad, has openly been set up. And like for those of you who've seen the second season of T, have you finished the second season of Loki or no?
No.
Okay. So let's just say that like Jonathan Majors shows up in Loki. No spoilers, he was in the trailer. This is kind of a bad choice. Now, say what you want about why Marvel has done this, and also all the controversy around Jonathan Majors and how you feel about that. That's one separate issue. But it does indicate that Marvel is, in my opinion, kind of doing what Star Wars did and is desperately trying to keep the fans by giving them what they think they want. And I feel that's a serious mistake that Lucasfilms kind of proved don't do. Because they have had some successes, but there has been clear signs that people are backtracking on the visions that they're working on. This was evident in the Marvels. This was evident in like, don't even get me started on Secret Invasion. And like Ant-Man Quantumania is even further proof of this, because they had an ending that, and also certain aspects of a story that were actually significantly better, but they wanted to keep it less of something that would offend people, and so they made a bunch of changes that made the fans being like, what the F was this? And now Marvel's like, oh my god, people didn't like Ant-Man. And I'm just like, okay. And you can see that in the Marvels there was actually like, even with everything they did in the Marvels, it was still an enjoyable film, but you could tell they cut stuff out because they were afraid of what it could do with the fan base. And so they, like, clearly Marvel is afraid of their fans, and they're afraid of what their fans will do. And so therefore they're trying to do what the fans will want, but in doing so, they're alienating their fans, and also they're not getting new people in. And this kind of goes back to something Darcy told me off air one time. He was like, and I wholly completely agree with this, and you can obviously talk to it more, but Marvel after Endgame has done bits and pieces of this, but they really should have gone back smaller to individualized stories and the effect the snap had on everybody. And they're instead trying to go bigger and badder, and it's like you're missing the point.
Yeah, I'm not pleased. I'm just jumping in here at this point.
Please.
I'm not pleased about Jonathan Majors being recast.
No. Or just out.
And okay, like, given that we don't fully know all the stuff, the legal proceedings, and we could still find out bad things. Overall, his acting in this has been fantastic. And the biggest problem is they should never have done him in Ant-Man. They should have done something else. Him being an omnipotent, like, big presence coming in the future, absolutely. Him actually being in the movie at that much scale, definitely not. Him losing, stupid. So they hurt themselves majorly there. Ironic, I just said that.
You're on the roll today, man.
That was not on purpose, by the way. And I've enjoyed him so much in Loki season 2 that after watching that season, I'm like, oh, this is so good. And they're like, and he's out. You're like, so you let me get more hype for where this character is. You let me get more hype for where Secret Invasion can go. And then you're going to try to write him out. So you're just going to, like, don't get me wrong. Like, I don't mind the idea of, like, and I don't know Secret Invasion. So, like, I'm butchering. What's that?
Secret War.
You're right.
Yeah, Secret Invasion is the horrible thing adaptation they made.
I do know that, but I'm pretending like I don't. So, but for Secret Wars, like, I don't know how much Kang is just like everything about the villain, but I don't mind there being like this. They work with somebody like Doctor Doom to resolve the problem, and then he ends up usurping and taking the power, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely fantastic. But I've now been hyped up to see Jonathan Majors play this big role. And if he doesn't play this big role, I just think that's going to feel negative to me. Like, it's just going to feel like I'm not that excited, not that interested. And as much as you can bring another person in, you're going to have to do extra work to make me excited because you spent time give me something, and then you say you're just not going to give that to me. And now I'm like, I just got don't look over there anymore. Just look over here. And you're like, but that's the reason I came. So now you just want me to, like, go somewhere else. So I don't know. They're just at a point where it's not exciting. And like you alluded to earlier, my views is that after Endgame, it 100% should have gone to individual stories of everyone's dealing with the trauma of what happened with the snap and what's coming back from that. Everyone has different things. You could have a dark property, you could have a more happy property, but the person's, like, their way of dealing with it is different. But you needed to focus on smaller stories that hinted at, yes, bigger things, but really just focused in on a person and made us feel something, but laid some groundwork. They just went too quickly to try to get into the next big bad, which I don't understand why they had to feel like they had to move so fast. Other than probably it was just stupid Disney executives trying to make money, and it's just annoying because they're just like ruining the whole thing, and now making me kind of want to be like, I don't know if there was much else after Endgame. Like, I might just get to a point where I'm like, I'm done, and I'm just gonna like Endgame, and then that's it. It's Elseworlds after that point.
T?
Yeah, this news is pretty upsetting. Even though I've gone on record of saying that I wasn't overly excited about the introduction of Kang just because of the way he was initially handled, I felt like there definitely was potential there, and I saw the potential, and I really enjoyed seeing Jonathan Majors' portrayal of Kang in the final season or the final episode of the first season, and what that was going to lead up to. And then we got Ant-Man, and that kind of just killed all of my anticipation for it. And I've gone on record of saying I'm not overly excited. I'm not as hyped as I was when there was the introduction of Thanos. But then you guys were saying, like, after you watch season 2 of Loki, you'll probably change your perspective. However, with that being said, considering this new news of him potentially being replaced, now my feelings are the same as I had when Swamp Thing came out. I was super excited to go and watch that, and then I found out that they had canceled it at after before the first season even completely aired. So I didn't even bother checking it out because it's like, why am I going to invest in a show when I know it's not going to continue from the final episode, right? So now it's kind of like I'll still watch Loki season 2, but now I'm like kind of reluctant to, because it's just like, okay, well, if Kang isn't going to be part of the main focus now, like how are they going to clean up this mess? Because it's very, very messy in where the MCU is at right now. And I agree with you guys in the sense of like they should have focused on individual storylines. Yes, the blip, like the aftermath of the blip, could have been a potential story arc that they could have, like, all individual characters could have focused on. To that point too, like just individual storylines, period. It doesn't necessarily have to be regarding the blip, but like for me right now, in terms of MCU / Sony, I don't even know if they're still like split, but I'm really excited about Tom Holland's new upcoming Spider-Man franchise, because now it's kind of it's bringing him back to like the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, where he's not relying on tech and like Tony Stark and all that kind of stuff. He can basically be the Spider-Man that we've all grown up to love and adore. And there's rumors about how they're gonna they're gonna tease and lead up to him eventually getting the black suit in Secret Wars. So that is something to look forward to, alongside of establishing Tom Holland's Spider-Man in like his own kind of realm, his own kind of movie, without having to rely on the backings of Tony Stark. So in that regard, I'm excited for that. And I think that they should have done that with all the other individual characters, similar to how they started with the MCU originally, where they did Iron Man and then they did Captain America and Thor. And like they all had their own separate stories, but everything was kind of like intertwined at the end. And like that's what got us all excited, because it's like with the first Iron Man, you didn't really expect anything. You're like, we don't know what they're building up to until the very end of the end credit scene, where it's like, Nick Fury shows up. He's like, have you heard of the Avengers Initiative? And you're like, oh shit, what the fuck is that? So then you're like, you're all hyped for it. I think they need to go back to the basics and rebuild that hype, rather than trying to like I feel like they're kind of trying to piggyback off of the success of Endgame. And I think they need to go back to basics, start again, build something new. Forget about Endgame now. Endgame, like, you guys finish that chapter, start a new chapter, but actually like follow the same formula, follow the same structure, and just build to something great and get us excited for something. But it seems like it's tough right now. So I don't really know how they fix this. I don't want to see them replace Jonathan Majors with another actor and then have him take over Kang. It's just, I don't. yes, Doom could be cool, but it's just like it just seems messy to like introduce him so prematurely, and it's just like he's like shoehorned in there now and taking over. Unless they do it the way Darcy suggested, that could potentially work. But I don't know, man. I'm just not overly excited about what's going on right now.
The thing that I will say, okay, just a quick point, T. I will say that like you should still watch Loki, because yes, I definitely understand what you mean about like not being excited if Jonathan Majors no longer is going to be Kang, but his performance in that was great, and it was starting to get me rehyped for his Kang the Conqueror later on. But it's mostly a story about Loki. Like it focuses on Loki. Like he's just a really, really good supporting character.
Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, I'm sure it's not a dumpster fire. Like I'm still gonna check it out, but it's just in terms of
Loki's good. It's good.
Yeah,
it's actually a really, really good show. It just sucks that it's like, hey, let's get you hyped, and then not give a shit.
See that?
Well,
that
yeah, because isn't Kang supposed to be part of like it isn't Loki season 2 supposed to be the driving force for the potential like for the new Kangs, like the Kang dynasty and all of that stuff, or is this kind of a separate thing and it's more so focused on like Loki?
I would say
Loki.
It's more focused on Loki that ends off in a way that could have impact on what Kang will do.
Got you. Okay.
But like going back to my point, like I agree. Like the performance that Jonathan Majors gave in season 2 of Loki kind of like made me forget about Ant-Man Quantumania and be hyped for him all over again. And it's frustrating because this is Marvel Studios doing something that bothers me in that they waited until after Loki was done, like the last episode aired, to kind of start letting this news trickle out. So it's like
they don't want to kill the show. They don't. Right. They don't want to hurt the show, but then they're going to hurt us right after.
Exactly. And this is like I am with you guys. I don't know what happened with Jonathan Majors and his previous partners. At one in London, we've been told that the one in America was proven to be lying, but now there's like another accusation from like England. But also they have people from his school coming out and saying that he was like abusive, but then too. But like there's an element of like how much of that is just people being jealous and trying to like tear a man down when he's vulnerable. I don't know. It just seems like there's a lot of hearsay and a lot of disproven stuff and a lot of like just trying to make a big deal, and Marvel's just trying to get themselves out of this as much as possible. Again, like I don't know. This just feels that this didn't need to be done because like Hollywood has kept clearly guilty people around and have not had them as readily recast even after the Me Too movement. This is an ambiguous situation, and he is so clearly intertwined of what was going to be the next one. But also, why did you jump into such a big overarching problem without doing a background check on someone?
Mm-hmm.
So it's frustrating because like Jonathan Majors is extremely talented, and it's frustrating because we saw his talent wasted in Ant-Man Quantumania. Like he had great scenes, but like it was like what the point was that? And then Loki happens, and you're like, holy shit! I forgot. Like I didn't forget. It's just so happy to actually be happy about an MCU property that doesn't have me going, oh my god, how are they going to ruin this? But like, and then watching the Marvels and Loki, I'm kind of starting to feel good about MCU again. And then this happens, and I'm like, well, what? Now they're going to undo everything. So it gets more and more frustrating as these decisions are made, clearly meant as not even like PR moves, just trying to cater to the largest group they can of their fan base.
You know, Marvel could not have done a better job right now of laying out the red carpet for DC.
Like honestly, facts.
like there was an era where like hopefully they can do it, it's gonna be difficult, and now it's just like as they're getting ready for like their biggest shift, making the smartest move by hiring a creator and somebody who and his partner who knows how to do the business side of things, and they're like, okay, yeah, they're coming up with their plan, people or whatever, but it's like we're just gonna lay down and like leave it open for you just to come in here because people are not liking us and they're just looking for something to like they're really open for a good opportunity right now.
Yeah.
And you know what, that's fine too, because I mean, let's face it, DC needs a win. They need a lot of wins, let me put it that way, because they don't have many in their roster, right? And so MC had its shine. MC had its time, and like now DC has to come in and like step up the plate and give us some home runs, man. And I mean, you know me, I've been kind of a DC guy in terms of the comics and the animated stuff, and I really want DC to like step up and like really do well.
They have all their characters.
Yeah, they have great stories to tell.
So I've just decided to look something up here. The Marvels, clearly the worst Marvel film yet. Hilarious because it has her name on it. So far, its gross sales is 167 million. Okay, I think it's lower than the production budget. No, but I'm curious now. What is the worst DC film, and which one is worse right now?
The worst
the DC. Marvels. I think the worst DC was the Birds of Prey one.
Oof, Birds of Prey box office mojo. Let's see what that did. It's more.
Okay, first of all, the Marvels is still only like 2 weeks, 3 weeks into its run, so it's not the final one. Also, it is the highest grossing film for an African American female director.
That's really sad.
Are we talking about?
Well, no, I'm talking about I think it was overall, because it's still going. Because the thing is, like, the Marvels had a bad rap. Like, they had no marketing for it, and also they had lots of online hate before it happened. You could clearly tell watching it that people took an like paper cut, started cutting out entire chunks of that film. I don't know why. And also there have been a lot of inaccurate reporting of like what happened like post-production and also pre-production. So like, I just feel that Marvel is doing its usual tendency of not doing really great when it comes to female-led films, aka Captain Marvel and Black Widow. This is just on the same length, just like what they did with Marvel has done this even in their comics form. They just dropped a whole bunch of female character-led comics that replaced fan favorite comic characters. And then when people were like when they had Whiplash, they're like, well, okay, this is proof that a female-led comics don't work. And then they started bringing the old ones back. So I was like, so this is just Marvel being Marvel, in my opinion, and it's still really frustrating.
Just to put this in perspective, by this weekend, the Marvels will have just surpassed Wonder Woman 1984.
Yay!
I just had to. I'm just being an instigator right now. My intrusive thoughts are winning.
Okay, moving on to our next topic. So, as people who've been watching our show have known, the three of us have been big fans of the Reacher TV series, which has already released one season. This is a show with Alan Richardson, who is, well, in the first season, he was a fairly buff guy. The second season trailer has been released, and yeah, I feel he got buffer, to be honest. And I will say that the trailer looked interesting. It looks like the quality of the show has remained intact. I don't know to what extent because I haven't read the damn.
Umar just switched sides. Umar is off the screen beside that woman in that shot right now.
I just knocked that woman out of frame. I'm like, hey, Reacher, how you doing? You need some help, man?
You have to change your pronouns now, bro.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Lord.
Anyway, so I found the trailer to be interesting. I am happy to check it out. It looks like the quality of the series has not dropped in the second season trailer, but then again, it was a relatively short trailer. What did you think, my bros? Darcy, let's start with you, man. I think you were the one who kind of like pushed me to watch the series in the first place.
Yeah, I pushed both of you guys into watching that show. I actually sat like Tactix down one day when he was over, and I was like, "Yep, you're gonna watch this." and then we started watching. He's like, "Yep, I'm gonna go home and finish this." Like that's pretty much it. Yeah, I was actually just looking up a picture of him, like season 1 versus season 2. Yeah, he definitely put some on. I'm all in for this show. Like this show, the season 1 was awesome because the character is just like so unique because he's very intelligent, very stoic, very morally focused, and a beast. And so like the season 1, for those who haven't seen it, opens up not too dissimilar to the way this trailer opens up for season 2, which is just to say, hey, it's still the same show. Season 1 opens up, the guy's walking into an old school diner to get a piece of pie, and as he's walking in, there's a guy pulling his girl out of the diner and being very aggressive with her, bringing her to the car, and the man just comes over and just, I forget the words he said, but the way he looked at him, the guy went from like, get out of my face to, yes sir, my bad sir, I do better sir. like the guy just stands over him like, if you don't correct yourself, I'll correct you. And just the physical impression of that was like, I do not want to know what it's like to have my hand up my rear. Like I just don't want to know what that's like. There was a like a scene in the first season where he's like, I'll give you the count to 3, and your friends are gonna have to pick you up in a body bag or pick you up in a bucket. And it was, the guy did not it was 3 dead. Like it was just like it was intense. So and at the same time, this show's also like really fun and like simplistic and like it charm, like in a southern simple kind of way, and it has this like very, I don't know, something like 90s television-esque vibe going where
I hear that.
Where it's just like, it's simple and enjoyable, and the characters and the actors just really deliver. So I'm really excited, and I'm really excited to see who plays opposite of him, because he's very strong in the role, both literally and in acting skills. And so everyone has to play off of him, and I want to see how they build the cast like how they did in the first season, because they're gonna have the love interest, and then they're gonna have like the guy who's butting heads with him and who's clearly gonna lose in every round because he's also just as intelligent as you. And so it's just like, I just really look forward to seeing the cast build up, and all the stuff they're hinting at with him protecting his buddies from the military. So plus more people like him, it's gonna be, just don't fuck around. Don't fuck around and find out when you're around him and his crew. Is all I gotta say. But anyways, I'll pass it on.
Yeah, I just want to get Courtney's comment where she's like, dude's vibe is like a 2002 era Triple H buff. Whoa.
Triple H. Yeah, you're not wrong on that.
No. T?
Yeah, I'm excited for this show. Like Darcy said, he's the one who got me into it. We were chilling at his house, and right before I was about to leave, he's just like, yo, like you gotta just check out this episode. Like it's a quick watch, and it's only 8 episodes per season or something like that. And so we watched the first episode, and then I breezed through the rest of it in like under a week, I think, because I was like,
Same.
I was hooked, man. I was like, oh damn, this show is actually really good, and it's a far departure from like what Tom Cruise gave us, like like Tom Cruise is not like there's no comparison. Like he's not imposing at all. Doesn't have that same gravitas as this guy.
Angry.
Yeah,
this is how the character's supposed to be.
Yeah, in the book, he's actually like the way he's described, it fits the stature of this guy. And like it's funny because remember in season 1 where they have him in holding, and then the guy comes in and he's just like, "You guys didn't cuff him?" He's just like, "We tried. They didn't fit." I was like, "Oh shit." So they just have the man in zip ties, and like even that, he just breaks out of it like he's Superman.
Yeah, he's just like.
So good.
Yeah, so like I love the moments like that, and like what Darcy was saying, there's a lot of really great banter because he's like, just as he is imposing as like physically, he's also super intelligent, right? And so the banter back and forth
witty.
with, like, yeah, very witty, so it makes for really good entertaining television. And then on top of that, from this first season, I really like, there's a lot of elements that I like. So like there's the scene with the dog where he keeps going back to visit the dog and like who's being abused by the owner or whatever. I really loved that moment. And then Darcy made mention of it just a while ago. The man and his pie, bro. That gave me such anxiety. I was like, yo, is he gonna eat it this time? like I was waiting for that. Bro. I was like,
3 attempts.
It's 3 attempts, bro. And I was like, oh my gosh, like just give the man some pie. Like, why can't he have the pie? So yeah, that drove me insane. And then he finally had it, and it was just like, the guy's like, "How was the pie?" It's like, "I've had better." And I was like, "Oh damn." So yeah, it's a great show. I love it. And I'm glad that this guy, Alan Richardson.
Alan Richardson.
Yeah. I'm glad that he, he's finally coming into his own, because I don't know if you guys saw the interview that he did. I think it was on Collider, where he was talking about his experience with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle franchise, the Michael Bay one, and how poorly how mistreated he was, like considering that he's one of the stars. So for him to kind of get into this role, and like, even though like the process to get him to this like was super grueling, like I think Darcy was telling us the last time, like he, like, obviously to get into this shape, you have to eat a copious amount of food, right? Like, and it got to the point where it was like compromising his health and shit like that. So, actors, when they,
sorry, go on.
Yeah. No, I was just gonna say, like, actors really, like, when they commit to the role, like, they sometimes put themselves through like a really like arduous and grueling process, and like sometimes it can like be at the detriment of their own health, right? So, hopefully, like, he's found a way to kind of have that work for him and like maintain his health without having to compromise any like health issues and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm excited.
I will say that just on a separate note, in the show, one of my favorite scenes with him was when he him and the cop and his female cop, like the detective and the female cop, all get together on like an outside porch to have like ribs or something, and like the detective asks for like a Cobb salad or something like that, and like she brings it over. He's like, I was embarrassed in like ordering that, and then they just go back and forth, like just bantering about like how much food did the guy eat, and he's like, look how big you are. So like you said, like I was surprised with how much I liked the series, to be honest, because I'd seen like Reacher, the movie, on a plane, and I was just kind of like skipping through it. I was like, okay, and it was interesting because what I liked about it was his deductive reasoning and his profiling skills, and like that's like front and center in the first episode. And even in this trailer for season 2, you get to see him doing that, even like with people. And I like the fact that he's not just a Hulk. He's Bruce Banner and the Hulk together. And while at the same time, he's like John Wick. Like I'll never forget when he was in New York, and like he's in a suit and a tie, and he lost that suit and tie quickly and killed that assassin very quickly too. And you're just like, ooh. So yeah, like I will say that I am actually looking forward to seeing this series, and it's nice to see that the quality of it has remained. Now the good news is like they're adapting the books as best they can, so that like shows like kind of going back to what we've been saying about like respecting the source material. It works. Like it is successful as a result of it.
You know, one thing before we move on, the one thing you guys both mentioned is the Tom Cruise one. The one reason I didn't like the Tom Cruise ones is because it was like Mission Impossible with deductive reasoning. It didn't know what it was. And yeah, he doesn't match the character, but I didn't know who the character was. So when I saw Jack Reacher, I thought it was Mission Impossible. Like if you put on Jack Reacher like random clips and then just intersplice them with Mission Impossible, I don't think you could tell. I think you would think it's the same film. You'd be like, oh, okay, cool. Like he's just here. Who's this character? Like you just wouldn't know it was any different because they did. But if you put like Mission Impossible and then you intercut it with Top Gun, you would know it's a totally different Tom Cruise film. It's a fundamentally different character. But yeah, these are too much the same. And then you see this guy, you're like, yeah, there's nothing alike. There's nothing alike between these two people at all.
Moving on to our next topic. So another trailer that kind of dropped that really surprised me with how much I liked it. And this is after we've just been talking about how the MCU has been like letting us down lately. The Echo trailer. Now, Echo is basically a spin-off series from Hawkeye, where this character Echo was, or Maya is her name was kind of like a very strong, supportive antagonist character. And I heard that this movie, the show was coming out. I heard that they were going to like having it somehow tie in with some other MCU series is coming out. And also that it will have Kingpin, Vincent D'Onofrio's character, come back. But given how I saw Vincent D'Onofrio in Hawkeye, I wasn't all that impressed. Then I saw the trailer. And me personally, I will say this trailer, like since I had such low expectations for it, this trailer knocked me the fuck out in like just how much I'm actually really excited to check this series out. It had serious Netflix Daredevil vibes, and all I could really say is it's about fucking time. I also found Vincent D'Onofrio to be old school Kingpin, which was also really nice to have. And I like that the tone is mature. It's not like made for kids or like teenagers and stuff. This is hopefully what like is made for adults. So if this is a sample of what the MCU and also the Daredevil Born Again series is being changed into be more like, this could be something I can get behind. But I'm interested to see what you guys think. T, let's start with you, man. Like, I think you were the least interested in this one.
I was until I saw this trailer, and then I was on board. And to your point, your last point, Umar, I'm wondering if the creators of Born Again saw the trailer to this and were like, "Oh, yo, we fucked up. We gotta scrap everything and start over." Because this is this trailer is what I want Daredevil to be. Now, granted, this is just a trailer, so we don't know it. Like, for all we know, this could still be trash. But based on just basing it off of sheer presentation in regards to the trailer, it gave me everything that I would hope would be in a Daredevil reimagining show. That's like this level, because this is what we were all concerned about. Well, me in particular, in terms of like the rating, right? Were they going to dumb it down and give us like Daredevil light in the sense of like what we got in She-Hulk? Because like I wasn't super impressed with the Daredevil from She-Hulk. It was cool to see him show up, and like, yeah, he had some cool moments, but like if that was the level that they were planning on giving us with Born Again, then I wasn't all that interested. I was in fact kind of checked out. I'm like, I'd rather just kind of like have Daredevil be like the memory that I like, what I remember him from in terms of the Netflix show, and just keep it at that. But if they're gonna bring us like rated R, like this seems like it's rated R. Is it gonna be? Do we have a rating for this yet? Or
it's rated. Not that I know of.
So if they're going in this kind of tone, then it has me excited not only for this, but hopefully Daredevil can also kind of come on. I mean, it has to, because I mean, it'd be weird if like this with Kingpin is like rated R, and then Daredevil with Kingpin is like PG or something. It wouldn't make sense at all. So I'm hoping that the show is good and it gives us a dark, gritty tone that I, for one, want to see.
Darce?
Yeah, I'm interested in the show. I do like the tone, and I definitely want to see Vincent D'Onofrio come back and deliver on the character. I don't know. There's this cloud of MCU that is just bothering me so much that it's like, okay, is this going to be a good one-off show that is just independent, encapsulated in its own thing, and it's exciting? But am I going to be like thinking about how is this going to connect, or should it connect, and is it going to be pulled along with trash that I don't want to see? So I'm excited to see it, but I kind of feel like I'm in a place where I'm going to kind of wait to see somebody else watch it first and tell me if it's worth it. Like, I don't know. Like, but it's the week that it comes out, if there's other stuff I'm in the middle of watching, like if I'm in a good One Piece arc, okay, I'm gonna be like, yo, just let me know how the first episode goes. But if I am like in a place where I'm like, oh, okay, I'll win my watching that today. I've got nothing going on. Then I'll pick it up the first week. But I'm definitely not sitting here like, oh, we gotta wait for that next season, like that first season. I'm waiting for that drop. Like, I'm not in that place, because as much as I love Vincent D'Onofrio in this character, I love him in this character, but I don't know. I'm just kind of like worried about picking up more things at this point.
I'm gonna say that like I have excitement for this, and at present, when I going into the show, I'm gonna have the same level of interest as I did Loki season 2. And so like that one I was enjoying watching week by week, but then again, like the show was also delivering week by week. Like I found certain aspects of each of the episodes to be I could be critical about, but like overall I was actually enjoying it week by week. And when it came out, I was like, okay, here we go. I kind of like, I cannot believe I'm saying this, but I'm kind of on that same level with Echo, and I'm like, yeah, I'm ready, because like this looks like I'm going to get what I've wanted, and also that Tactix and I have talked about, and you too, Darcy, that like they're adapting the Netflix style in the MCU, and so that like for me personally, I will say that that's my level of like relatable interest. Yeah. All right. Moving on to our next topic, which is going to be discussing, or reviewing, I should say, the season finale of Gen V. Now, for those of you who don't know, Gen V is the spin-off series from The Boys. It has we've been covering it as we've been going along, but in the last couple of weeks while we were on hiatus, the season finale of the first season dropped, and I kind of want to hear what my bros have to say. So, Darcy, what were your thoughts of the Gen V season finale?
I absolutely love this show. I think Amazon has not missed. This show was the perfect spin-off where most would fail. It perfectly was exactly in the tone. It allowed lots of time to build up these characters in the way, like, this is going to be a weird example of saying this, but like this show did what Marvel should have done with the Snap. And I don't mean the same content. I mean, it did a good job of being like, hey, everyone found out that the V is not like is a pill. It's a chemical. It's a thing that we made. It's man-made, these powers. And so that was the Snap in this universe.
Yes.
And so this show is like people going about their lives post this, and they're like, well, I'm still trying to stay down the true path, and some people be like, what the fuck is the point? Like this shit don't make no sense, and they're all colliding, and they do that in a great way by showing, like, having students in university where they're old enough and mature enough to have multiple different layers of problems. They're old enough to have traumas they came from, and you can just throw all that in there and just have so much happening with it all at once. And it discusses the fundamental shift, but it's its own independent thing. And then when they want to tie it off in the finale, they not tie it off. They want to connect it with bringing in Homelander, with bringing in the head popper woman, with bringing in all these people and having a way to interconnect it was amazing. And then they make the events that happen in this show have an impact back to the boys, but it wasn't in a bad way where it was like, you know, Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. where they're trying to like constantly be interconnecting and they're limited. Like, no, they had this own independent story, but then at the very end, they had the best way I could think of to interconnect and affect the main storyline, but never feeling like the whole time that, like what Tactix usually talks about, being like, oh, I'm so annoyed that like this thing is like, you know, it's not its own thing, right? And so I absolutely loved it. Homelander was like just awesome. By the way, have you all seen the behind the scenes of him filming that scene?
That was hilarious.
Because normally he just does like a couple feet, and he's just so mad that he's doing such a high drop. Oh, that was so good.
But like the funny thing is, like Homelander literally was in it for a minute and a half, and left such an impression.
Oh my gosh, yeah. The second he shows up, I was like, no one's gonna live. like did we just watch this whole season to fall in love with these characters for the biggest thing for them to just be all dead at the very end of the season and be like, and that was Gen V. Next we have Gen Y. Like it's just a completely different cast the next season because they all dead. Like there's nothing to talk about. But no, and then just everything about this, like the boys is doing it right. Like I want another spin-off later on, but I want a spin-off that's like, well, I still want to see what happens with these characters, so I still kind of, whether it's a season 2 or these characters all fall into the boys' main storyline and we see something there, I kind of want to see a completely different like spin-off that's completely different. Like the spin-off I want to see next is something on the other side of the planet. I want to see something related to powers where it's completely like just in a completely different country, right? Like South Pacific Asia, like India, somewhere just very far away. And I just want to see what that, like the V and all that stuff means in the universe on a different side of the planet. And then at the end, Homelander shows up and kills everybody or something like that. Right? Like I just, because it's interesting, and we've seen all these like layers, but like, what does that mean in a completely different place? Like, what does it mean if like there's a superhero in a rural part of Africa where like there is no like real like modern civilization, but there's a person with extreme power? Right? Like we haven't seen a lot of that. And so I'm just intrigued to see, I'm not saying that's like a whole season of itself, but I just kind of want to see like the other side of the planet explored outside of the United States. I'm just really intrigued of somebody doing a really interesting way of doing that. Even if it was just like a mini series, like, you know, 45-minute episode off on its own, because it's just, they do it well. And I just want to see more of the world. So
Tactix.
Yeah, I thought the show was fantastic. Going in, I wasn't sure if the show was actually going to work. I'm always kind of a little skeptical about spinoffs, and especially considering that they had like they tried to do, or they did the animated show, and
I didn't watch
the
it.
animated. Yeah, I watched a couple episodes, but I couldn't really get into it, and it didn't really do much for me. So going into this, I was kind of like reluctant about it, and I'm like, I don't know, the boys is still going on, and like now I have to like connect to a whole new set of characters. Am I really going to be easily as drawn to these characters as I am with the characters on the boys? And I found myself hooked after like 2 episodes. I was just kind of like getting into it, and it progressively got better, and I got more invested into the storyline, and I really like where they took it, and I'm intrigued to see where they go from here, because it has a lot of good tie-ins to the boys, which is really, really interesting. And question for you guys though, is this based on a comic book, or sorry, is this based on the comic book, or is this its own kind of?
To be
Like,
honest,
story?
I think it's its own thing because I don't recall a Gen V comic book aspect.
So like, so these are all original characters? They're not at
I
all
believe so.
like. Okay. That's interesting because then they have a little bit more freedom and liberty to kind of take this story wherever they want and can kind of intertwine it into the boys. Because I'm not sure. Like, I think the boy they're kind of deviating from the comic book quite a bit actually,
Wow.
because I know. Do you guys know who the original Black Noir was supposed to be in the comic?
Yeah, he was supposed to be a clone of Homelander.
Yeah. So that they obviously deviated from that. So
A lot.
yeah, but yeah, I'm enjoying it. I like it so far, and I this is the thing, and I know this is on the topic as well with Invincible, but it's like I find myself more intrigued by Gen V, the boys, and Invincible more so than I am with any Marvel or DC stuff, because like with Gen V and Invincible, they can kind of take it to a level that I feel Marvel is still very much afraid to go, and maybe that's
Marvel
because of
can't
their
go raw.
yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, because of their association with Disney, right? So they have to kind of play things a little bit tame. Whereas this, you can go off the rails, and like honestly, it like you would think that it's like over the top and gratuitous and like a little too much, but like that's part of the appeal of the show. Like, where it's just like you're taking it to that level, and you're just like, oh shit, like this guy's dick just exploded. Like that, I never thought I'd ever see that.
Like, honestly, there are times the show goes too far for me on occasion, and I'm like,
but that's what makes it so enjoyable, because you're just like, wow, they actually took it there, yo. Like, I never thought I would actually see that in a superhero show. So I really enjoy it for that aspect, and yeah, I'm excited to see where they take it. And yeah, both the boys and Gen V are phenomenal. So if you're not watching it, you got to check it out.
I will say that, like, for me, the things that I enjoyed about the season finale felt like a true climax of where they were taking things. Like, there were a couple of times I was like, okay, they're going too much into this conspiracy, they're getting too much into this, but like the characters are, you get where they're coming from. They don't like it's like, for example, certain characters go like, villainous. You're not like, oh, that came out of nowhere. You're like, no, that was there from the beginning. And other characters, they make like stupid decisions, but you're like, nah, that's in line. And also, you're remembering these are like 19-year-olds. They're like first year college, second year college. They're not meant to be like people who are like fully formed adults. And kind of like what Darcy was saying, we're seeing the ramifications of like these kids no longer, like, they now are realized they were drugged by their parents.
Yep.
And like, this wasn't like they were like chosen by God, as most of their life has been made to believe. They found out they have been drugged, and all the issues they've been dealing with, it's not like, oh, God is testing us. It's like, our parents did this to us to make a buck.
They're a product.
Yes. And the fact that like, and Vought is being, bro, I know people are big fans of him from Supernatural, but like I watched like one season of Supernatural. I liked him in certain voice acting that he did, but like his Soldier Boy is making me laugh in ways I didn't expect to laugh certain ways. And like at one point when he's like, "Hey, fuck your face," and I'm like, "What?" And like, and that's the end of the conversation, and I'm like, okay.
He's so good at this role, and he's not is a different character, like, by a big mile. But yeah, he's got that same charm. It's like every part of him in Supernatural that was like edgy is just like turned up to 11 in this show, and everything that was like in like relatable, enjoyable is like turned to 0.
Yeah. So like, I will say that like I find Gen V to be in and of, it's a completely different story than the boys, but it has all the right elements from the boys, and it still tells its story that I, just like Darcy said, I love how it's connecting to season 4, and having Homelander and Billy Butcher show up makes me that much more excited.
Yeah.
So yeah. So moving on to our almost last topic is going to be with something we've been talking about, which is another hit from Amazon, Invincible Season 2. Now, the first 4 episodes of Season 2 have been released, which is going to then go, now it's going to go on hiatus until like sometime in like February or something.
Sorry, wait, it's going on hiatus? What? Wait, say that again?
Yeah, so like...
Wait. How many episodes before the hiatus starts?
No. Hiatus has started now because like we've seen.
We go hiatus.
Today is the last episode.
Yeah. Yesterday's episode was the last episode. Until January.
Y'all gonna be big mad. I saw today's episode. Y'all gonna be big mad. That was the hiatus point.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not happy with that.
Yeah, I know. I already, because like since I've read the comics, I know what part we end off of, and I'm hurt that I'm like that we're stopping right now. But it's gonna be coming back in 2024. They don't know when exactly yet. But like
you read the comics. Well, yeah, that's just wrong because now you know what.
I don't know what's gonna be turned into a series.
Yeah, well, I mean, Tactix, you're going to be big mad after this episode because this episode was big. Like, this episode had a lot going on in it.
Well,
I can imagine after the one that I saw, the last, how that ended.
Last week?
Oh, man.
Yeah, trust me that how that ended and how this episode picks up, it escalates a lot bigger and a lot faster than you think it's going to in this next episode.
I can imagine, bro.
You ain't ready. You can't imagine. When you see it, I want you to tell me after you see it and be like, did you imagine that?
I did not.
Okay, so we might as well just jump into it. Like, Darcy, what? Actually, wait, Tactix. Since you've only watched the first 3 episodes of 4, what are you thinking so far of Invincible Season 2? And also, is it like holding up for what you thought?
Yes, absolutely holding up. I love this show. I'm excited. I get excited for Fridays. And on top of that, I got my girl hooked on the show too. And again, this is coming from a person who does not like watching TV series because she doesn't like. Well, she's gonna be mad now. Given how it's gonna end, apparently, because this is the reason why she doesn't. She just because she's the type of person who's like, I just want a movie to end and then just be done. Like I don't want to have to wait.
She's gonna be so mad. She's gonna be so mad.
She's gonna be so not happy at this. Wait till the end of the episode and then tell her.
Yes.
Yeah, bro.
You have to just save yourself that.
Yeah, because she was so mad at how Gen V ended. Because she was like, "Oh man, we gotta wait till next week." And I'm like, "Actually, no, we gotta wait a lot longer than that." That was the last episode of the season. Yeah.
When's the next season? We have no idea if there's another season.
But yeah, in regards to like season 2, I'm loving it so far. I like this show can't, like Darcy said it, Amazon can't miss, man. Like they got Gen V, they got The Boys, now they got Invincible. Like these are the shows that get, like these are the properties that get me hype right now, more so than Marvel and what DC is doing right now. And that I never thought I would say that because I've been a diehard Marvel and DC fan for like majority of my life. And now I find I'm tempted to go and read the Invincible comics now. And you know me, I don't really read comics like that, but I'm just kind of like, I need to know what happens. Right. So I love the show. Anyone who's not watching it, you definitely have to, you definitely have to go and watch this show because it is amazing. And what I really like about it too is there's good character development. I'm like invested in like the twins, like they're really interesting. The brain
Debbie.
guy, like Debbie, yeah, like everybody, everyone, all the characters are so interesting, and like you get pulled into this world and you want to know so much more about them. And like I like the parallels or the dichotomy of like, you know, the superhero tropes and stuff, like how like they're like the guardians of the what are they called? The guardians of the globe? Or yeah, like how they're kind of like the Justice League. And even in that one episode, you had the guy who is supposed to be Batman or whatever, and then he had his
like the
sidekick take
Robin.
over. Yeah. Like I found that I was like that was pretty cool too and everything. So
that
like,
was
dark.
dark.
Yeah, but I'm enjoying it, man. I love it. I love it all. So yeah, I'm loving the show. It's dope.
Darce?
Yeah, continued shoutouts for Amazon. Like you said, all these and plus Jack Reacher's Amazon. like all of our favorite things from this episode are all on Amazon. This is not a kids cartoon, and I love everything about it. It is so good. Like you said, the clones. The clones have a moment in the end of this episode that's just so awesome. It's just so.
That was interesting.
It was so good, and I knew exactly the second how it like started. I'm like, I know how this is gonna end.
Yeah.
There's no. Like there's an interaction between them Tactix, and you see it, you're like you'll see like you're like finally something happens between the clones that never happened before, and you're like, yeah, that's not gonna last.
It's a post credit scene.
Yeah, but you'll know the second you see it, like this is not gonna last the episode. But this, I mean, I can't talk about this episode, but it got good. I'm loving this show on every level. I love his mother.
Yes, they're doing her perfectly.
Like, it's they are not holding back on her character because, like, okay, so you find out that your superhero husband is actually a complete ass and is here to conquer the planet and considers you a pet, and you fostered a child with this individual who deems you as your zookeeper, and so
and almost kills your kid.
Yeah, and almost kills your kid in front of the world and uses your kid as a literal killing stick to kill humans. And so you have a lot to deal with. And she's trying to be strong, and like I feel like I'm watching her go through morning and AA at the same time, like as if they're like this new program that is the combination of the two. And
can I just interject for 1 second?
Yeah.
I just want to say that this like her story arc is expanded from the comics. It wasn't this good in the comics. So like I just want to add that to what you were saying.
And something that I like is like because the creator of this is also the creator of The Boys, and he has I'm correct on that one, right?
No, this
Walking Dead.
He's Walking Dead.
Okay, yeah. I thought he did The Boys too. But anyways, regardless, if I'm wrong, that's cool. But I remember him talking about going to this show, and he decided that he wanted to improve certain elements from the comic because he's older, there's different views on things, and they're definitely fleshing out characters, and I don't know, it feels important to watch the mother's story, and because it just shows that like there's a real depth and a consequence, and everything in this show is like there's a consequence. Everything that happens shifts the story, and it never feels like we're your typical cartoon superhero show where it's like, yeah, it's all right, they'll be back tomorrow, like it's all good, nothing really comes of this, we'll have our fight, but we'll be back tomorrow. With this, it's like, I don't know how people gonna like make it out, and I've seen some stuff in the comics, right, like some clips and stuff like that, like our dude played by Seth Rogen, how his character gets bigger and stronger through being beat the hell. Alan, yeah. Which I actually, Seth Rogen's voice really, really worked for that character. Like I never thought he would sound so good in like a superhero role, but his voice really works for that specific character. Having that level of like charm that's naive and yet still being very like soldierly, like diligent. And it's just very interesting. By the way, y'all recognize Mr. Oh my god, I can't think of the name right. Oh, is that
this guy?
Oh, I thought you said no. In the last in episode 3, what's his name? Megatron.
Oh yeah, Optimus Prime, man.
Optimus Prime, not Megatron. Yeah. I couldn't remember.
Yeah.
The voice actor from Optimus Prime showed up.
Yes,
that was super dope.
Yeah, he plays Thaddeus. He's a big character.
He's a big voice.
Yeah, agree. Like honestly, the voice cast is like going to what Tactix says, the guy on Image is Angstrom Levy, and Sterling K. Brown brings it.
So
I mean, of course, he can't not bring it. Like, I would love to see him phone in a performance and see what see that. But
sorry,
go on.
One thing I'm really excited about for the show that I've been hearing from people who've read the comics is that there's a few things that we're going to get into. There's a big war that's coming that I'm really excited about.
There's many of them.
But one thing I'm really, really interested in is that we're going to be heading into a multiverse thing. And somebody was saying is like that this isn't like a multiverse like any of the other multiverses. And actually, Invincible was the first one. The Invincible comic was the first one to do the multiverse before Marvel and DC did it. And everyone keeps saying it's nothing like the other ones. And that really intrigues me. It's like, what's the difference? How am I going to see this play out? And so I'm excited to see that. I don't need spoilers anymore. I know you're on the cusp right there of telling me. But
okay. All right. I won't say what I was going to say.
By the way, this alien dude's amazing. I love how
he
he's like
cracks me up. I didn't realize he would until he like what he does, but he does. Yeah,
he just stands on a treadmill backwards doing like nothing. Like
I also love that like they're just like straight up like everyone's just shitting on Rexplode, and then like it's like an entire season worth of like waiting for it to happen.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Oh, and yeah, this show is just amazing. I'm just really mad now to find out that we have a hiatus for what. We're gonna we have to wait for 4 more episodes or something like that. Oh, Lord have mercy. Oh,
yeah.
How long?
I don't know why.
March? You said? Oh, how long?
I didn't say March. I just said sometime in 2024.
Yeah, that sounds worse.
Yeah. I will say that like I'm on the same boat as you guys. I love what they're doing with Debbie, and also Sandra Oh is bringing it. I'm not gonna lie, having Jake. I was missing J.K. Simmons, and it was good to have him back in last episode and this episode. Also, like the voice of Clancy, the voice of Lex Luthor slash Clancy Brown. I was really surprised to have him show up in this week's episode. And Tactix, you'll find out how.
His voice is so good. So good. The voice acting choices are so good, but when I heard his voice before I even saw the character, I was like, oh, perfect voice for any character of this type that I can't say what they are.
Yes. Like honestly, I have been thoroughly enjoying the voice cast, and like, dude, like we're only like literally halfway through the season. It was kind of sad to that Lance Reddick passed away, but like at the same time, like just so excited to see where they're going to take stuff, because they've already started changing things, and in my opinion they're changing them for the better. There are a few plot points I'm wondering if they're going to change or if they're going to keep, but nonetheless, like this was really cute. Like I don't know, like I found the fact that they were like keeping things like not PG, but also at the same time like PG-13. Like I enjoyed how they're being about this. Nonetheless, I'm really looking forward to like season 2. The second part of season 2. I'm thoroughly enjoying this series. And like, yeah, Amazon is, I don't know who's in charge of Amazon right now, but like they're on the same level as like Apple TV in terms of like picking and producing some really good content.
One thing I just remembered, isn't Seth Rogen producing this and The Boys?
I don't know if he's producing The Boys, but he is producing this.
I know he's producing this.
You're right. He is producing this one. I don't know if he's producing The Boys.
I feel like there was someone told me a long time ago he had something to do with The Boys. And I was like, is that why there's some like similar thing? I'm gonna look into that, because somebody had mentioned to me when they brought up The Boys was coming out, they mentioned his name.
Mm-hmm.
What I did hear in regards to like the multiverse thing is there's like speculation, or people were asking about like if there was ever going to be a crossover between Invincible and The Boys, and the creator of Invincible, he was like, well, we don't really have plans for it, but like, I mean, that would be an interesting idea. I don't know how that would work, but maybe they do it kind of similar to how what was it, Across the Spider-Verse, where they had like Donald Glover show up as like a cameo in that regard or something. I don't know how they would do it, but that's the rumor mill that's happening right now.
I cannot say anything because I want to, and I could lose control and start spoiling stuff. So I will leave that alone.
Well, that said a lot.
Okay, yeah, I mean, yeah, like what the fuck, bro?
I just don't want to say anything, but I want to.
I mean, you said plenty just there. Like you could have just been like, "Oh, that's interesting," and we could have just moved on.
So going back to what I was saying before, no. Seth Rogen is executive producer of The Boys. The Boys presents
really?
Yeah, because I remember a cousin of mine was saying before The Boys came out, he was like hyping me up for it to like check it out, and I wasn't like half paying attention when he told me. But I remember him saying Seth Rogen was related to it, and so yeah, he's the executive producer. Hence the quality. I think there's a big part with like both the writing and Seth Rogen's ability to like pick and push things in the right direction and bring things together, that it just like helps to keep things in the right direction. So at least at least 24 episodes he's been executive producer since 2019 or 2022.
Okay. We need more nerds as executive producers, man. Like he did the new Turtles movie. We got James Gunn taking over for DC. Like
even Feige is a nerd. Like he's not like he didn't know about like superheroes. So no, I'm with you on that. All right, I'm gonna change topics before I like to say anything more. So moving on to our final topic, which is one I have been waiting for. So we are going to do a touch base with Tactix. We usually do these for those of you who don't know or haven't watched our show before. This is when we connect with Tactix over something that Darcy and I have been watching for a long time and have been, I wouldn't say harassing Tactix to catch up, but let's say there's been a fair amount of nudging. And so we could
mostly
say that
from you.
100%.
Anyway, so we are going to say that Tactix has decided to give Jujutsu Kaisen season 1 a try, and I was very happy to hear before we started the podcast that Tactix has gotten through the first 9 episodes of season 1. Now, for those of you who think, "Oh, that's 9 episodes," like no big deal. I'm like, guys, for a guy who's like working and also studying and also not as fast in his absorption of anime as Darcy and I, 9 episodes in like 3 weeks is a lot for him. So like clearly he's enjoying. So without further ado, Tactix, what are your thoughts on Jujutsu Kaisen so far?
I'm enjoying it so far. I mean, right out of the gate, shit just got real, and I was just like, "Oh, okay, this is how we starting this. All right, I'm in." It's getting really interesting. I hit kind of a lull in the storyline a little bit. But overall, I'm enjoying the potential, because I know that this is just a build up to like something like fucking crazy. And like now that like I've started watching it and I've been checking out a couple of clips, not clips that I haven't seen, but just like recapping on like stuff that I've already watched. Some of the stuff, some of the newer stuff that I haven't seen yet are now starting to show up on my feed, and I'm seeing like little glimpses of like fight scenes, and I'm like, oh shit, okay, I can't watch that yet. So I'm shutting that down real quick because it looked hype from what I saw. So yeah, I'm enjoying it so far. It's got really good dark undertones. The characters are really interesting. The main guy, very intriguing in terms of what he's dealing with right now, and the whole.
You're talking about Yuji, right?
Yeah, and like that the demon guy like ripped out his heart and shit, and I'm just like, oh man, yeah, I'm really enjoying this right now, and I love the concept of like your emotions, like your negative emotions get manifested and turn into cursed demons and shit, and then they start killing people, and I'm like, whoa, this is some dark shit. And like Umar, you originally pitched this to me when we were training, and I think you asked me, you were like, yeah, like if that was a real thing, like what do you think your cursed manifestation would be? And that kind of intrigued me because I was like, I don't think I've ever seen it. I've never watched an anime quite like that before with that concept. And this is what I really appreciate about anime is that they take it to that next level. They're very eccentric in terms of their. Whoa, what happened? Am I still here?
You're still
Hello?
here. It's just that you're frozen.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll just keep talking then. I don't know what happened, but yeah, I really appreciate anime in that regard in terms of how eccentric their concepts are and how they can kind of like take these familiar concepts, but like kind of like 10x them in a way. Like with My Hero Academia, I like that concept and how they took the superhero genre and they kind of flipped it on its head and like made it really like wild and quirky and shit. No pun intended. But then with this, it's like it's got like that dark element of manifestation and like emotions and everything, which is like up my alley too, and like I find really intriguing. So I'm enjoying the show and I'm excited to see where it goes. And yeah, I feel like I'm gonna lose a lot of sleep watching this shit once I'm done with all my schooling stuff.
So like you answered the first question I wanted to ask you off air, which was like, how do you like the spiritual aspect of the series? So I'm glad you're really enjoying it. My second question is, how do you think of our boy Blindfolds over here?
He's interesting. I feel like I can't pinpoint who he reminds me of, but like he's got a common trope that I see in a lot of animes where it's like the overly confident, but like has a reason to be kind of bravado character. And you know me, I'm not usually like, I don't usually like the cocky characters, but for this guy, it seems to work. Like I'm just kind of like, I'm watching this guy and I'm like, I know I haven't seen like you at your prime yet, like you're at your strongest level yet, and you're withholding a lot of shit, and I'm just like, so I'm intrigued. I'm like, you're cocky, but I know that you could back it up, and I want to see you prove that. So I'm like waiting for this guy to unload and like, it's just I'm digging it so far. I'm digging this guy.
Yeah, so like Gojo, like he's characters that like I thought I wanted to see what he could do, and the fact that his innate ability is like it can basically bring to life infinity, and like he's made it so that he can like protect himself, I found to be fascinating. But the other thing I wanted to ask you is, you've talked about Yuji, you've talked about the fact that he has this demon inside him and all that. But Meg, who's on the left here, what are your thoughts of him so far? Because for where you are, he's just started to like rise.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have many thoughts about him just yet. I mean, like, because he seems very reserved and he's kind of like, he's like, I don't know, he's not really doing much for me yet, but I know that that's going to change. And I know like, it seems like he still has a lot to prove in terms of like how badass he could be. And so I'm still waiting for that to happen. Like I'm at the stage where like everything is building right now and like people are just kind of like getting developed. And so like in terms of the characters that have been in like these three guys, like I'm intrigued by them. Like I want to see where it goes and how they build, and like I want to see them in full-fledged action, right? Because I've only seen the main guy and blindfold guy.
Gojo.
Really, yeah. So I want to see more of that, and I know that we're gonna get more of that. So I'm excited.
I will say, where you are right now, like literally the next episode, shit gets real. Like not just like awesome, but like real.
Yeah, because that new demon is like has just been manifested. He killed those kids in the theater.
Oh, you're there. You're like I call him Patch Face.
This dude, the main dude, he just got a new power or something like that. And he can kind of see now. He's been trained to see the spiritual energy or the remnants of the energy or whatever.
Oh, the next like 4 episodes are going to be like a nightmare and like an action movie for you, like a nightmare action movie for you.
I'm here for it, man. I'm here for it.
Yeah. My last final question before I pass it over to Darcy. what do you think of the world building and the mechanics of the powers?
I like it. It's interesting. Again, I feel like I'm still very early into the season to give a full-fledged answer on that, just because I feel like they're still establishing the world and establishing a lot of the powers. I have an idea of the general concept. Like I know the general concept of the show in terms of the manifestation of these cursed energies or these cursed emotions, if you will. So, or spirit, spirit energy. So um I'm just kind of waiting for that to be fleshed out a little bit more and to see kind of like, because there's so many different emotions, right? So like to see what kind of things are manifested as a result of that, and who's harnessing these energies and stuff. So, and on top of that, with the main guy and how he has to like the deal that was given to him, like that's intriguing to me, because I'm just like, okay, well, are they gonna kill this guy off at the end, or like is he gonna be able to control it? Like there's so many questions. I'm just like, okay, how is he gonna get out of it? Is he gonna get out of this? So yeah, I'm invested, man. I mean, you guys sold me on it, and I'm kind of jealous because you guys are at like a point where it's like I hear you guys talking about it, and it's like really crazy, and I'm just like, damn, I'm not there yet.
It's not even the same level anymore. It's not even
it's like a whole another level. But the thing is, I'm actually kind of jealous of you because you get to like see some of those fights for the first time. Darcy, is there anything you want to ask T?
No, not really. I mean, I think you guys like really hit it.
I
mean, I'm just excited for you to get further along because it's a crazy show, and it's one thing I'm jealous is that you're watching. Actually, no. Here's one very fast question. Are you having an easy time comprehending it, considering it's all in English? Like the information that comes your way from the show, because it's an information dense show.
No, it's definitely a show where you can't, like, for me anyway, I can't background it. I need to kind of really be paying attention. I attempted, and then I got lost. Like when I started watching it, like when I was eating lunch, I got lost, and so I had to go back to an episode because I was like, oh, I feel like I missed some shit, right? So it's definitely a show that requires a little bit of focus and attention. So yeah, I realized that real quick that I can't background this show. I have to actually give it my undivided attention.
We thought that might be easier in English because we struggle comprehending everything that happens in this.
I actually have trouble with the mechanics of the show, and also like how the power like usage is done, and also how like certain things are taken care of. Like I've had to rewatch the entire series, and I did it with English dub, and like I just was able to like I still am loose on a couple of concepts.
Yeah, well, Umar, we'll definitely have to discuss that tomorrow. More in depth, but yeah, I'm liking it so far.
Yeah. All right. Well, unless there's any other questions, I'm going to volley it to you, T, for our closing remarks.
All right. Well, we want to thank you guys once again, wherever you are, wherever you're watching or listening, for tuning in to another edition of the Geeky Bros Podcast. I'm your boy Tactix.
Yo, it's just Darcy here.
And this is Big Geek Umar. Live long and prosper, y'all. Please like, favorite, and subscribe. And see you next week.
There it is.